Was this a penalty?
If anybody's to blame here, it's the VAR official, not the referee.
Yeah.
The referee's missed it.
It was a pen.
And VAR should have, in my opinion, because if we're saying it's not clear and obvious to go back, then it's not clear and obvious for the referee for the handball in the Paris Saint-Germain-Man United game, which we all think was a penalty kick. And the correct decision to go to VAR, whilst it wasn't an intentional challenge, intent's not in there, even if you clip somebody's heels accidentally, then it's a penalty kick. It was very clumsy from the Porto player. There's clear contact in there, whether he meant it or not, so it was a penalty kick. And in my opinion, I disagree with Peter on this occasion. I do think they should have reviewed that, and had it been reviewed properly, I think Roma would have had a penalty.
Exactly, but at this stage of proceedings, in extra time, was it a couple of minutes to go? You've got to check it. It's a penalty. He trips him. Well,
whether he means it or not does not matter.
It doesn't matter. It's a penalty kick, and Jimmy Pilotto's spot on. They've been hard done by. It's ridiculous.
As our sitting member of the IFAB committee, would you concur?
I'm with the boys at the table here. I think there's a tangling of legs and there's more than enough contact to warrant there being a penalty. Now, whether that contact was intentional or not is irrelevant. As a defender, you have to know who you're defending against. You have to be aware of their legs and stay clear of that. For instance, if a striker is through on goal, they are taught run across the defender, because the defender has to check his run for exactly that same reason.
Yep.
If you're giving that as a penalty, as a foul outside the box with a striker running across the defender, you've got to give the incident at the corner of the box as a penalty as well.
The stupidity of this challenge alone, because the time it was in the game, and he's running
away.
He's running towards the touchline. You don't get that close. You have no need to do it, and they absolutely got away with it.
Yeah. So, Peter, the video review official would have been looking at that and deciding, well, it wasn't clear and obvious.
Yes.
It's not as always easy. Go on.
Yeah, I hear what the lads are saying there, and and I agree with them to some extent. And maybe the correct course of action was the VAR to intervene and ask the referee, who ultimately takes that responsibility and takes that final decision, to go over and have a look, and in the context of the way he's been refereeing the game, adjudicate on that. But in this instance there, because the VAR thought it didn't reach the threshold, that's why he hasn't sent it down. Yeah, there's some work to do. We know this, and it's part of the experiment, it's part of the VAR protocol. But ultimately, I think that the VAR last night thought to himself, that hasn't reached that threshold, I'm not sending it down. Maybe in hindsight, to be more transparent and fair, if that's the right word to use, the referee should have took that decision.
Julien, which side of the line do you fall? With the boys here in the studio was a penalty, or with Peter that it wasn't?
No, I agree with the boys. I thought there was enough contact from Marega on Chic for at least the referee to go and watch it on VAR, and I really believe that if he had done that and had another look at it, with all the angles and everything, I think he would have given it.
Now then, Eusebio Di Francesco, relieved of his duties with Roma. 46 wins, 18 draws, 23 losses in his 87 games after joining from Sassuolo in the summer of 2017. Of course, they finished third last year. They are currently outside the top four. Reached those Champions League semi-finals last year, as Craig was talking about, losing to Liverpool. But there they are, 3 points out of the Champions League places as it stands, and of course out of the Champions League now after that defeat to Porto. And Claudio Ranieri seems to be lined up to replace him. Craig, what do you make of that?
A big cash van behind him everywhere he goes, because look, this guy has been everywhere and been a great success, obviously at Leicester City. He's managed some big clubs, but they just, and seems a most lovely guy, but they just keep landing on their feet. We just talked about Jose Mourinho, potentially going back to Real Madrid or another big club. And now you get sacked from Fulham after a very, very short spell, and you're probably going to land the Roma job. Good luck to him. It's certainly going to be an easier job than Fulham, because he's got better players.
I'll come to you in a minute, Paul. Julien, 17th club team. He's had second time at Roma. He did get a second-place finish with Roma back in 2010. Can he get them back in the top four? It
would be an incredible task for him to do. I agree with Craig. It makes no sense for me for Claudio Ranieri, who won 3 games in 17 at Fulham, then to get that job at Roma, where, okay, Di Francesco was not perfect. He had some incredible results last season, obviously, the game against Barcelona, the second leg in the Champions League. He struggled a bit more at times this season. There was that humiliating defeat against Lazio, and also in the Italian Cup against Fiorentina. But he's still a good young manager with bright ideas, and maybe the problem didn't just lay in Eusebio Di Francesco. I'm just not sure Ranieri is the right answer for Roma's problems right now.
Is he the answer, Paul?
No, he's not the answer. No, this is
Simple answer.
No, this is going to be. I'd be shocked if this is not a short-term answer. Look, Di Francesco, when it just started to go wrong for him, when he's getting his tactics wrong, he didn't seem to pick the right team. It just started falling apart. There was something not quite right with this Roma side.
All he's got to do is get them in the top 4, though, surely, isn't it? And it's the
Well,
right
it's
road.
easier
It's
said
only
than
3
done.
points.
It's easier said than done, because he's got to unite that group, and he's only got a short period of time to do so.
I agree. I mean, listen, the top 4 still within touching distance. 3 points to Inter, 4 points to AC Milan. It's doable to somebody who knows Italian football and has a pretty good CV. I think the other attractive thing about Ranieri is that he's going to toe the club line here. And I don't think he's going to rock the boat too much. So if he doesn't get it done and he has to leave come May, I don't think he'll kick up too much of a stink with that either. So it's an easy choice.
Plus, he's always said he's a Roma fan as well, hasn't he? So
That helps.
there you go.